right, there we go. So we are started. We are getting recorded. I am going to turn it over first to our president, Neil Mort, to have a few words. And then after that, we will send it over to our amazing co-hosts, Chanel Forrest and Tracy Ann Jackson. So go ahead.
Great. Thanks so much, Melissa. And I just want to say how thrilled I am to be here, and how nice it is to see everybody and have this chance to connect. It feels like it's been a long time since we were last in touch with each other, and so much has changed in our lives, in the world, and the way we do things. It's been quite an extraordinary time. But it's also been, I find, quite interesting time too, that we have come out of this and learned so much about how to do business and how to interact. And I think there's a lot of really positive things that we've learned, certainly about our organization and what we do and how we connect with people, that I think is going to be beneficial to the future. And I even think about things like the alumni meetings now. In our lives, it's really hard to find the time to break away and come down somewhere to get together. And this is nice if we can continue to use this format to develop this forum and a chance to connect with other graduates of Acsenda School of Management. I think one of the things that I appreciate more and more as I go through life is the power of networking and the power of relationships. And our world really is about building connections between each other and to talk with each other and to learn from others' experiences. And that's certainly one of the real benefits of having a good alumni organization. It gives a chance that brings people together with a common bond. And we all are drawn together by the fact that we've got this connection with Acsenda School of Management. And I think that this is to continue and to build and develop these types of opportunities for us to get together is really terrific. And tonight we're going to have the opportunity to learn about the experiences from other graduates and how they're doing, and some of their experiences that they have gone through since graduating. And I know it'll be a great opportunity for us to learn more. So anyway, I see this and look forward to many more events in the future. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to come out tonight. And I'll turn it back to Melissa to get things rolling. I'm looking forward to hearing your stories.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. So from here, I am going to keep track of letting people in, because I do have a feeling that more people are going to come as time goes. But in the meantime, I don't want people who are already here to have to wait. So we're going to turn it over to Chanel and Tracy Ann and let them go on with the show.
Thanks, Melissa. Tracy Ann has written a wonderful agenda for me, and I promised her I wasn't going to stray from her plan. So I'll just say quickly, thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. I think for those who are approaching graduation, the most relevant info they can get is from recent graduates. And Melissa, or I should say Dr. Etheridge, mentioned this in her meeting this morning. She said that it's so valuable when our alumni is made up of fairly recent graduates, because they can really offer good advice to our students. And like Neil said, it's a big part of networking. As a recent grad, your connections are the best chance of getting a job. I guess I should introduce myself a little more formally. My name is Chanel. I'm the HR business partner for the Educo Group, which is the parent company to Acsenda, as well as Arbutus in Vancouver, and a number of other schools throughout the US, Ireland, and Australia, as you know. So maybe I will turn it over to the panel to introduce themselves a little bit more formally than me. Tracy, if you'd like to take over and maybe work through the introductions, I will leave it with you.
Yes, thank you, Chanel. Definitely, I'd be, honored to introduce our panel this evening. So I'm Tracy Ann Jackson. Just a little bit of information about me. I'm an HR student. For me, I enjoy cooking. I'm from a Jamaican background and I love music. and I am really, really happy to be at Acsenda. So for our panelists, when you're doing your brief introduction, I'll just ask each of you to, give us a synopsis of your background, when you graduated, your major, something fun about you, and your current role. So are we ready? And I want the students, as they introduce themselves, I want to see emojis on the screen, the thumbs up, the smiley face, to make them feel welcome, okay? All right, so let's go. Ladies before gentlemen, no way. So you'll be going last. All right, so let us go with Chastity. So go ahead.
Oh, hello everybody. My name is Chastity David. So I graduated just last year, December, under the Bachelor of Hospitality Management. And right now I'm managing cafe. It's called Cafe Artigiano in main branch, main location. And personal note, I like to paint. And while I was in Acsenda, I won the Accenda's Got Talent, the very first Accenda's Got Talent. And it's like speed painting. So anyway, and I think I've been in Acsenda as also part of student society and a lot of club or affiliation, and also as a student administrative worker. So, and it's been a great help that I had the opportunity to work as a student while I was studying, and I've learned so much while I was studying in Acsenda School of Management. And now I develop my knowledge, my skills while I'm working in the cafe, and maybe soon I will put up my own business. It's part of my plan. That's all.
Thank you so much. So we
Thank
see the
you.
importance, of where you highlighted that you worked with the Acsenda family, and you're using some of those skills now are transferred to your current role. So thank you for sharing. So students, remember those transferable skills, right? All right, let's go now to Miss Melissa.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa. I first want to say thank you for the opportunity. I feel very pleased to be invited to participate on this panel and talk to all of you. I actually finished classes December 2016, got my diploma following year. I did my major in international business. I don't work in the field, unfortunately. But I guess I've done a little bit of everything since I moved to Canada. I currently work at Ritchie Brothers as an auction company. I actually work at the Ritchie Brothers Financial Services in the moment. Thankfully, I'm still working and we have lots of things to do. It's been busier than before, to be honest, right now. Funny thing, I'm not sure. I participated, I always like to volunteer and participate in everything. When I was in school, I really enjoy Acsenda because it's a smaller school, get closer to the students. I guess one of the things that I would say, especially like introduce a fun thing, I've done volunteer for the first 3 years in a nonprofit organization that they do Portuguese as a heritage language. That was something that would bring me closer to my culture and people from Brazil. But that also helped me get my first job. That was one of the things that was pointed out when I got my first job, the fact that the transferable skills that I acquire, not only at school, but also outside doing volunteer.
Thank you so much, Melissa. So we see that it's important, you see where it's good to volunteer because, there might be opportunities through volunteerism. Very, very good. Thank you so much. And we'll go now to Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. It's been quite a while that I have to present myself in English. I think that's the most fun thing now. I used to be a very shy person when I first joined Acsenda. I think if anyone know me by that time, they would know that I don't really talk. I don't really do public speaking. And but I got trained at, throughout all my years in Acsenda. I changed a little bit, but now, going back working now in a Chinese-based company, so pretty much I don't use English as often as before. So a little bit about myself. I graduated in December 2016. My major is in human resource. And I was once the president and the secretary of the HR club. And I also got some volunteer experience. I volunteer in David Suzuki Foundation and also in the Canadian Red Cross. And right now I'm working in T&T Supermarket as a human resource officer. I'm really grateful that I found this job. I actually work, in something that is related to what I study. And yeah, that's pretty much for now.
Thank you, thank you. As you said, when you were a shy person, but through coming to Acsenda, you were able to grow and come out of that little shell. And look at you now, wonderful, wonderful. All right, Mr. Noe.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Noah Escobar. I am a former Acsenda student. I graduate in 2017. Most of you might know me as the guy who teaches salsa dancing at Acsenda sometimes. What else? Right now I'm working, and I've been working for the past almost 3 years now for the Real Estate Board of Vancouver. Not as a real estate agent. I work for the board at the offices. What else? Something fun about me. I'm really into board games, and I'm actually a board game designer myself. I design board games, and oh yeah. Also, my major in Acsenda was marketing, which I hope is gonna help me out when I start selling my board games.
Yes, thank you. The salsa, I see a comment here that maybe we could, you could come and visit us sometimes and run a salsa club.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
That's
I'll be happy to.
well, we welcome. We'll have to talk after this session about
Of
that.
course.
So thank you to our panel for that wonderful introduction. And this session is just to provide guidance and advice to students, such as myself. So everyone's here and we're really, really excited. So the questions I'll be asking are from students, and so it's really authentic. They really want to know what's happening. So so Chastity, this one's for you really. And students, feel free to post your questions in the chat as well. It's very open. And so for Chastity, as the most recent graduate, one of the number one question was, what was your job search process like? Are there any
Oh,
best
that's a
practices for
great
students?
question and easy one because I've got my job right now. They just absorbed me through my internship. So I started my internship in Cafe Artigiano last year. It was April. So from spring until December. So from April, 6 months for 6 months. And then they found out that, I think you're gonna be an asset in our company. So they absorbed me. So I worked as a full-time worker from April last year. And then now it's my first year. And then I'm managing there right now. So it's pretty good that we have this internship through the Acsenda School of Management under the BHM program. And I don't know if other programs also offer that one. So I'm really still grateful that I have my job right now because of the internship.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And so we can always be on the lookout for internship opportunities. I know some courses we have practicum, so it's good to liaise with your professors, your heads of departments, and they can provide guidance.
Yes,
So
yes. They do have this agency or placement agent that will help you throughout the looking for a job or whatever field that you like, if it's BHM, airport, or any hospitality field. So it's really good.
Yes, I do definitely I agree.
Mhm.
So Elizabeth, you were, involved in extracurricular activities. As you said, you founded the HR club. So how is it important for students to engage in these extracurricular activities?
To be honest, the experience that I have that time to engage student is very, very difficult. Most of the students, they have a part-time job. They don't usually want to stay, after the class is finished. So pretty much, I think at that time also is the time that I start building my networking, to try to engage more other students through the classes that you have, through the time that you have, and then, get them interested, get to know what they are interested in. So when you design your topics and all those presentations, so it's kind of like tailor-made. So that's something that they want to be part of. So they will just come and, join your presentation, give suggestions. And I think that's the thing that we need to do is, to know your audience, to know what they want. And then from then onwards, try to think of things that will help them, not only during the school years, but also afterwards. So that's pretty much what we did that time.
Okay, thank you. Sometimes, as students, we might get very busy and, we can't get to attend or engage, but, you're highlighting that by being engaged, you can build on some of those skills and those will actually help you. And that has helped you in your current role. So, and you also have to think about, the mindset, being disciplined. So can you share, with the students, what's the mindset, what's the attitude like that helped you progress after graduation?
Um, well, it is an interesting question for me because the mindset is the same mindset that you have after through the whole through your time or through my time at the school as a foreign student, and most of you will agree with me. As a foreign student, you know that you're always trying to achieve something. You're always trying to be trying to be a little bit better because it's not your country, it's not your language, it's not your culture. So there is always this mindset of pushing through everything that happens, right? Pushing through everything that comes your way. It happens at school with many things. It happens at school with the language primarily, with the culture of someone else, right? And once you finish the school, it just keeps going. Once you finish school, you have to keep that same mind. Okay, I accomplished that goal. I already passed that barrier. Now what's next, right? What is the next challenge that I'm going to have to conquer in order to make it in this new city that I'm at, that I have to survive on. So I don't really know if there is if I can tell you there is a specific mindset other than the one that you already been training, right? The one that you already been carrying from the beginning of your journey. I think the secret is to realize that you have to keep fighting, that you have to keep trying. One of the things that I notice in many of my friends and many of my acquaintances is that once they finish school, they have this idea of that everything is going to be fine now, right? Once they finish school, now I have my title and I'm just going to sit on my butt and wait for life to happen to me, right? Which is not the case. And you have to keep going. What your title gives you, what your education gives you, is the confidence and the self power and the self will to keep going. But it's the same set of mind that you bring from years behind. Just keep going and keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting.
Thank you so much. It is indeed true. You have to be, very determined, and you have to have some kind of direction,
Yeah.
right? So, I would just like Melissa to share with us based on what you're saying now, how important is it to, plan to ensure that you achieve the goals you set out to get, describe the importance of planning for us, Melissa.
I agree with him, and but I think it's really important for us when we finish school. It's hard. I guess the hardest part is just to get your first Canadian job, and one of the things that I found that is easier is just like you look for the places you want to work for. You try to make connections in that industry, on the field, or try to meet people, tailor your resume, your cover letter to that specific position. Usually sometimes like getting direct to the employer, it's easier than just like uploading resume or kind of thing. It has to be more direct. I would say in my situation, one thing led to the other. I had my first experience when I was at school, and one of the experiences that helped me along the way was offered at school. So there was a previous employee, Vicky, she used to work there. She needed a student to help her with a project. Tone offered me and I accepted. I took the project, it was like a 4 months project. I added that to my resume, and then I put my resume on those, how they call it, was Manpower, the name of, the one that hires for previous, and I got a job at BC Hydro. And she said, because of the experience I had through school, and because of the experience that I had at my volunteer, those are the things that draw her to my resume. And I got my first job was at BC Hydro. So I was kind of lucky, I guess, in that situation. The other jobs I got was mostly networking, someone that referred me to the job. But I would say for the students, the best things like don't give up. You're probably gonna send thousands of resumes until you can get the first call back. Don't wait for things to happen. Just keep active searching, work on your LinkedIn, work on your networking. Those are the things that are going to help you build your career in Canada. The first one, it's hard, but once you get it, things get easier and you start working your way. And I guess that would be my advice to complement Noah's advice.
Excellent. I'm glad you touched on the point of building your social media platforms. We're in a digital age now, and a lot of persons will look at your LinkedIn, to decide on who they should hire. So that's a very important point. And we're living in an uncertain time now, so planning is important, and you have to be resilient, to get those goals. So I think we have some chat questions, and Chanel will share some of those with us. I think it's for all of the panelists. Chanel?
We do. We have a question that says, what courses from ASM helped you in your career right now? And are there any teachers who inspired you? Anyone?
My answer.
Shall I repeat the question again?
No, I get it. I can jump on it. I don't know if there was one specific course that helped me most than the other one, because I took a lot of stuff from many of the courses. However, being a marketing major, I guess the courses on the marketing side of my studies, of my career, were the ones to push me the farthest to what I was trying to achieve and to what I wanted, right? And with that, of course, Mary was the teacher who I look up to the most, being her my marketing teacher, and being her the professional that I that I look at that I look after. Also, she was the one who took us to a marketing agency for a field visit, which I was thrilled with. That was the moment I was on where I said, well, this is what I want to do, and this is why I'm starting, right? So that'll be my answer. I guess the the courses that I appreciate the most were the ones on my measure, because those were the ones that I went for and that I chose by myself. And the teacher that gave me those courses, Mary, was key on my development.
Any other comments on that question?
I can go next. I would say the same thing. I don't think that was I can't say there was a specific course or a specific teacher. I think all the teachers really inspire us. They brought a lot of experience from workplace, and it was really helpful. I guess I had probably a closer connection to Mike because I was doing international business. I was always with Tom because he was always with the students, the Acsenda, the society. I was trying to be part of to make the international business club too, but it was so hard to get students to join and participate. But I guess all the teachers in the classes, they were very helpful. I guess what stayed most with me is just because we were in a different country, we learn a lot about working with different cultures, how to adjust, how to change. And those things are really important for us because we work with people from so many different cultures. It was my first time living outside my country, and that was a big challenge to accept and understand that people see things in a different way. So that was those courses are always dealing with differences and leadership and change, and those things were the ones that I guess helped me the most. But I can't say a specific one. I was always inspired by all the teachers. They were so helpful, and we felt like we're special. We're not just one more student. We matter to them. So.
Just to comment on, sorry, just to comment on Melissa's point. I know this session it's really for students, but we have instructors here also. So we want to acknowledge them and also acknowledge how important their role is as being mentors for the students as well, because we look up to them. So it was good that you could always be around, Tom. So you know that's a takeaway for our instructors as well. Go ahead, Chastity. I think you were going next.
Yeah. I don't wanna be biased, but I think every step of the way, all the instructors help us a lot and teaches us, because I think it's the best profession in the entire world to become a teacher, aside from being a mom. But I think for me, because I'm been away with my family and we're really close, and I've been looking for for a mentor or for mother-like or father-like figure. So for me, I would say that spiritually, mentally, Tom Chan was a really great help for me. Although even other staff in Acsenda helped me a lot through my years in studies. But because it's also a part of you that you're just like Noe said, that you need to step forward. So you're not just gonna stay there. So if you want to someone to guide you through all the way, you're gonna ask your teacher or the under for example, for me, we have a dean, but our dean is not always around. So and then I know that for sure for other students as well, they have their closest teachers or instructors that will help help them through all the way. But Tom Chan was really a big help for me. I've been asking for some advices for anything, even if I wasn't under any of his classes. But I think he's the one as a student services officer that will lead the students to find even a home, or even a homestay, or some, like, in general, any advices in general. He helped us a lot. So I think, and through the help of all the instructors, that's where we got our stand right now. So I think everyone can help us, even students as well, your co-students.
Elizabeth, did you want to comment on that question as well?
Sure. So I totally agree with all of them. You know, there is no one specific class or no one specific instructor. There's been, you know, giving us a lot of help. To me personally, my major is human resources, and I think most of my classes with Pomponia, and we never say, like, the two of us never really say that, you know, she's my mentor or whatsoever, but yeah, she gave me a lot of advice and encouragement along the way. And also Tom Chen as well. I remember the first term I was having a psychology class with him, and yes, he gave me a lot of advice at that time, especially the first term when I was in Acsenda. It's a winter time. It's not easy, you know, you only here by yourself. And for the classes, I think throughout, I've been working in TNT for 3.5 years. I think sometimes when, you know, some of the instructor, what they taught, they just pop up there. Like once when I receive an email and then I feel angry, and then I try to reply it, you know, in a quite aggressive way. And I remember what Teresita was saying, whenever you try to send an email, you know, when you're angry, stop at this moment, think about it, you know, come back. And yeah. And then when I was asked to conduct a survey monkey in my company. So, and that's the time, you know, the marketing research class come in, you know, there is, you know, when you are taking all those classes, sometimes you are just thinking about, you know, getting past, getting a good grade, you know, graduated from school. You may not think a lot about it, but when you actually go, you know, to another world, you start working, that's the time, you know, all those stuff just come back, you know. It reminds you sometime, you know, not making mistakes when you're writing email, when you're communicating with others. And, you know, especially when I'm in HR, sometimes, you know, there are some wording that you have to be careful, you should not be using. So yeah, I think pretty much all the classes, you know, they help me along the way. Yeah.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I wanted to touch on what Noe said about keeping the momentum going after you graduate when you start your job search. And I'm curious to know if any of you had to make a little adjustment to your expectations when you graduated to get your foot in the door with that first role. So I'm wondering if maybe you came in at the CEO level and had a bit of an awakening when you started getting out into the job market, and what that felt like and how you moved past that into the role you're in now.
Should I go first? Well, it is my story. It is I want to say funny, and I have a little luck, but I like to explain how through my entire academic time, I worked in the service industry, right? I start as a bartender, and then I start managing a coffee shop, and then a Mexican restaurant. And I was about to start managing a restaurant right at the moment when I finished my studies. And I remember I said to my then boss, I said, you know what? I have already finished school. I'm already a marketer. I have my diploma. I don't want I don't want to be manager of this restaurant anymore, right? I want to do something with what I did. And I turned down that job, expecting for me to just someone give me my job of marketing somewhere, right? That was my mistake. And then a few months passed, and I couldn't find anything, and uh, I end up selling massagers on when you go to Costco or to Canadian Tire, and there's these people inside the store that they sell you stuff. They don't work for the store, but they still sell you stuff. I was one of those, and I and I start selling massages and speakers, like Bluetooth speakers. And then I realized that I that I made a mistake. That I tried to do something that I wasn't prepared to. So I took my pride back, and I ate my pride again. And I remember something that my dad told me, and this is something that I like to share with everyone every time I can. Um, my father has these two analogies that I live my life live my life on, and the first one he says is, you will never lose an opportunity. You will only give it to someone else, right? So if there's an opportunity that you're gonna get, you there's not for you to lose. It's just for someone else to keep. So if you don't want it, someone is gonna get it. And the other one is always be prepared. He uses this analogy of, if you are hunting. He uses a rabbit for some reason. But if you're hunting for a rabbit, and you have your gun, and then you see the rabbit hopping, and then in that moment you start trying to load your gun to shoot it, you're gonna lose it, right? You have to be prepared for that rabbit to jump, so you can shoot it right away. Which means that opportunities can come anywhere, everywhere, and you have to be prepared for that. And what I'm trying to say for this is, after that moment, I have to swallow my pride, and I prepared everything that I had, and I prepared all my papers, and I prepared my CV, and I walk everywhere with my backpack full of CVs. I remember that I had like 20, like 15 or 20 copies of my curriculum always in my backpack. And then one day I went to a friend's house for Christmas, and then this friend invited another friend for Christmas, and then we start chatting, and and they told me that I told them that I was looking for a job because I was on this job that I didn't like, and they say, well, in the office that I work at, they're looking for someone, right? It's not a marketing position, but they're looking for someone right now, and if you want, I can give you the number. And then I remember me saying, I remember the mistake that I made before, and I said, you know what? Yes, like right away. This is the opportunity that I want, that I need right now. And I had my CV right there in my backpack in that moment, and I gave it to her. Like it was a Sunday or a Saturday or something like that, and I gave it to her, as in, here, right? I'll send you another copy to your email on Monday if you want. But meanwhile, here you have it right now. And a couple of weeks after that, they called me for an interview, and I landed the job that I had for the past 2.5 years. It is a job that I love. It is a job that I'm really happy on. Um, it's not it's not precisely what I studied for. The funny thing is, all my career as um, in the food industry helped me a little bit more, because this job was more as in customer service kind of area. But that's the idea. But that's the thing, that I land the job that I have by pure chance, because I was on the right place on the right time, and I was prepared to that. And that's kind of the wisdom that I like to give to the new to the newly grades from the school. Just be prepared, because you might have to change your plans a little bit. That's fine. It's okay. Adjusting your way on the way is okay. Just be prepared, and don't let opportunities go. And tan tan.
Thank you. I wanted to ask also if any of you have found that your experience outside of Canada has actually worked against you in your job search. Has anyone come across your resume and said, oh gosh, why would this person want to come and work at this more entry-level role when they have this extensive experience from outside of Canada? And how did you address that in an interview or when you eventually landed the role?
Should I go? No, or someone?
Sure, you can go.
All right. So yeah, I think I had that when the regional manager interviewed me for my internship, because my experience in the Philippines for 7 years was in healthcare, but I was still a graduate of tourism management there. But I work in a hospital as customer relations officer, so in a managerial position too. But he said, so you work in hospital is all about health and things like that. So we're not applying it here unless if someone might gonna be in shock, but it's customer service. So it's still related to, to prioritizing your customers, or giving giving what they need or what they want in the store. So maybe if it's against or away from your experience or your education, I think it's about the fact that maybe you want to learn more, or you want to be in this field, so to broaden your horizon, or to try other stuff aside from what you have experienced before. Because even every day you won't stop learning, because they said that experience is the best education. Why enroll? Just kidding. So in that particular moment, you're gonna think that maybe there's a purpose for everything too, or everything happens for a reason. That because actually my plan before, after I graduate, I go back to the Philippines, put up my own business, but this COVID thing happened, right? So we'll never know what would happen in the future unless, oh, thanks, Te. My sister just gave me something to eat. So, and then as the regional manager said, so maybe you're gonna be a competition in this coffee shop, and you're gonna put up your business here. No, I'm gonna go back home. But so this is so funny moment that I had my ticket all going back home to the Philippines, and it was March 25, but then it was canceled due to the COVID. So maybe I'm gonna and I am already asking for my severance pay for the vacation and everything. But he said, oh, we want you back because we need you, because here in Vancouver, thankfully it's Canada, they're still giving you how do you call this one, like assistance or for government. And then all local companies here, the government will still assist you. So I applied everything from my previous experience, even my education, through this day now. So I think you can't really control what is happening, right? And you can't also plan your life according to your calendar, what you want. Even when you go forward, you're still changing every plan or decision that you're gonna make. it all depends, because your plan is not really what it should be. Yeah, maybe you have some motivation or aspiration, but when things happen there, like in a click, so all your plans will be broken, and you're gonna need to change to adapt in the situation. So maybe there's a purpose that I'm still here, and yeah, so maybe at least to inspire other students too.
I like what you said, that although your role was in a hospital, at the end of the day, it was still customer service. And I think
Yes.
that's a really good tip as you're entering the job search, is to drill down on your resume and pull out those transferable skills. And lo and behold, they are transferable to any industry, but the resume reader might not know to find them. So spend the time. If you want to get a role in hospitality management, you've never done it, go back through your resume and pull out those skills.
Yeah.
I think there's a number of questions on the chat, so I'll turn it over to Tracy Ann. She's going to share them with the group.
Yes, thank you, Chanel. The chat box is blowing up. Students are listening. They want to know what's happening with you. So one question is that, to the panel, as we wrap up, what are the changes that has happened in your industry, especially during the pandemic? And do you see the industry changing in years to come? So, question to our panel. From Beatrice, she's asking about changes I've observed in your industry during the pandemic.
I've answered a couple of line about that the COVID thing happened, and good thing that the local companies here are government are assisting local companies, or a small business, because in my industry, hospitality, usually it's service, right? So it's really affected. So we just I think a month that we didn't work, and we were receiving assistance from the government. But then the in service, like coffee shop or any restaurants, since it's not really necessity, but it's still food, and maybe the government is really want to also maybe the economy to move a little bit, even if this is happening.
Yes, definitely. Does anyone else want to share on that topic of changes and unexpected trends or anything like that?
So the company that I work for is an auctioneer company. They mainly do auctions for heavy equipment. They're all over the world. We sell finance mainly for Canada and United States. So, but they do have online auction, and they used to have physical auctions where people go to the site and bid on the equipment. But with COVID, they have to change from one day to the next to go everything online. So it was a huge change for the company, and it was great, like that everyone was able to adjust. Is when they were at work, and then they go like, here's a laptop, you go home and you don't come back. They'll have to learn how to work from home, go paperless, learn how to not use paper. So there was a lot of changes in our industry. Fortunately, the company is going very well. They're always hiring. Even told Tom, like if he has students, sometimes they do have internship opportunity that the company, they're hiring, they're still hiring. There are a lot of positions open. They've been growing a lot. And the biggest thing is that they have to go online and teach people how to do everything online instead of going physically. And it's hard. Some people don't even know. We have customers that don't even have a cell phone or have to send fax, but they have to learn how to. So it has been a big change, but everyone is being adjusting very well. I don't see we're going back to the way we used to do business before. They even told like we don't have any expectations to go back to the office. We're going to be working from home. It's working fine. So I see a lot of changes in most of the industries. Some unfortunately are being hit harder, like hospitality. Ours, in the case of selling used equipment, is going well, probably because they're not producing new ones, but they're doing very well. And you have, I guess, for the new students, especially going out to the workplace right now, they have to adjust and adapt to what's the new reality. Don't expect things to be the same they were before. Just and try to see which company or industry you want to work and see how they're doing. And I guess there's a new way of doing things, and we just have to learn.
Thank you for sharing. We're getting used to the new normal, and you touched on the point of remote work. So, those are some of the changes that we'll expect to see. I have 2 more questions in the chat. However, we're almost out of time. I don't know if we can take those 2, Melissa.
Yeah, you can go ahead. We actually have it scheduled till 7:30. So go ahead, and when those questions are done, we can be, and any other questions are done, then we'll be done.
Okay, thank
Go for
you.
it. Thank you.
Okay, so Elizabeth, would you be able to share on this question? This student is asking, do you think it would be difficult for new grads to find a job at this time? It's coming from one of our students.
I think during pandemic it's pretty tough, as they all mentioned. Some industry got hit pretty hard. And for me, working at the retail industry, pretty much still grateful. I can still have my job. I'm working at it's kind of like an essential service, and we still go to work every day. And then after like the reopen phase, some of my connection, like previous classmate, some people that just graduate, they know me from other event from school. They start to get connected with me to see if they can find a job in TNT. So that's something that have not happened before, to be honest. You can really tell that it's really difficult to find a job. So I think, as what Melissa was saying, that you have to adapt to the new environment. Like you have to get yourself prepared. In a way, is all the technology thing you have to get used to. But I think for the student now, because they have all their classes online, I think in one way, you got the school have them prepare. They get to know, because from our years, it's hard to think about, because I remember the time when I was at school, the computer room was like so small. It's just a total different environment. You cannot imagine, like, for a few years, things changes like that. I think everyone should get themselves prepared. If they have any free time, get more online, make most use of the social media or the platform, even joining, all those meeting and events that the school is hosting, and just, expand your network, and then, get used to the thing, and try to think of a way of looking for a job that, will still be essential during this time. I used to work in the airline industry, and, those people in Hong Kong, they don't have, they don't have to go to work anymore. They're having no pay leave. They're staying at home. And I'm grateful that, I pick a different path. One of the reasons that I changed my career at that time is because I feel that, the airline industry is coming to an end. That, there's too much budget airline, the expansion will be limited. That's why I want to look for another opportunity for myself. So that's why I come here to study, and I go to human resources. Think of some industry that you might want to get in that, will stay there for a long time.
Yes, that is indeed true. You need to, do your market research, see where you can best fit and acquire those skills. And you mentioned some of those technological skills. So Noe, would you want to share further? Is it difficult? What kind of skills do you think are in demand now? You did marketing. How can students market themselves or brand themselves?
Well, I actually think you hit the nail in the head. Right now, what you have to market is yourself, because you are the biggest resource that you have to offer. At this particular moment, what every industry needs uh, uh, is people, is someone who is able to adapt to the new order, someone who is able to adapt to fast changes, someone is able to adapt to new rules. And that's I think that's what you have to make sure that you can offer, right? Because you can be the best marketer, or you can be the best HR, or you can be the best whatever you are, but if you're not able to adapt to fast changes on your industry, or wherever you work at, most likely you're gonna have a hard time uh, staying on that place. Because right now the biggest problem is that we don't really know, no one really know where are we going or how are we gonna get out of this situation. So those who adapt to the situation, and those who are able to market themselves, and to yeah, to market themselves as adaptable, are gonna be, I guess, the more valuable people. And most important of all, and I can't stress this enough, be prepared for when a opportunity comes. Always be prepared, and always be on your best behavior. Be always kind to everyone, and be always cordial to everyone, because you never know who you're talking to. You never know who is that person right in front of you. You never know who is behind that mask, that might be your next boss, or might be the next person that is gonna give you a job, or might be someone who is gonna help you out getting your job. So don't close any doors. Just just open your network. Be prepared for changes, and be prepared for jump to any opportunities.
Yes, indeed. We need to be adaptable. We need to develop those non-routine cognitive skills to be able to brand and market ourselves. Wonderful, wonderful. There's a question for Melissa. One of our students is asking, since you mentioned that you're not working your concentration, which is international business management, right now, a lot of students are choosing IBM as their concentration. Do you think it will be hard to be in this field since there isn't any specific career pathway? So that's for those who are doing IBM, they want to know, do you think it's hard for them?
Well, first thing, when I did my concentration, we had our courses transferred to FITT. I don't know if that's something that's still happening at school. One thing that I highly recommend is students do take the test. It might not be easy. You got to study a little bit, but you can put that on your resume, and then you can get designation after 1 year of experience. I did take the test. Me and a few friends that took that. I guess I understand their concern. What happened to me is just because I didn't even know after school, I took some time. I was like, I need a rest, I need a break. Been studying so hard, took more courses than I could the last few months. So I did some background job just to make some money to pay the bills. I went vacation with my family. And when I come back, I'm like, now I need a job. And it's maybe too late to look for something that I do not have experience on, right? So I put my curriculum in those recruiter companies, and that's why I landed my first job. And when I was working at BC Hard, I have a friend that works in a hotel. My dream was to work in a hotel. I went to work in a hotel, started front desk, did a supervisor, and then I'm like, I think I have an office job. And that friend was working, and Richie Brothers referred me, and then that's where I've been working for the last 2 years. So it just didn't happen. I didn't work hard to look for that job, for anything in the field. Honestly, I didn't do it. I didn't do my homework, I would say. And when I decided that I have to have a job, I can't wait anymore, that it was too late to try to start from zero. So I don't think it's hard. It's just that you have to do your homework. I would say most students, like, I know we need to work and you get any kind of part-time job or study. I should say, don't do that. Do something, look for something related to what you want to do after you graduate. Start getting experience when you're studying. Get involved. There are meetup groups. Go do some kind of connection. Try when you're at school, getting the experience or getting to know people in the field so you can land a job when you finish and you have your degree, you have your FITT that gives open rooms for you as well, and then you can get a designation. Just don't wait. Things are not going to happen out of the blue. So I would say I didn't do my homework. That's why I'm not working in the field. And now, like, what I'm doing is kind of related to what I did back in Brazil. So it's kind of a comfortable situation. But I would say just start doing while you're a student. Take that advantage that you're still a student and you can go and look for things that are related to what you want to do later. It's harder if you just do any kind of job. I work in an office that has nothing to do with anything. I couldn't get hired at the place I was working. So it's just like, try to connect what you do while you're a student. That's going to matter when you graduate. So think about that. Think about taking serious the classes to learn, pay attention. You're not that just, it's going to help you in the future. So really, that's what we're meant to do. You're here for a reason. And I think everyone should take advantage of all the opportunities we're having, even when you're at school. Those are really important.
I'd just like to add real quick that, the question about not having a direct route or a direct career path, in honesty, I think that actually is better for you. It opens up a lot of different opportunities. And that means that you're not kind of limited to just one direction that you can take. So when you have something like IBM, I've been doing academic advising for a very, very, very long time, and programs like that where it is a little bit more open in general, but it's still specific enough to give you that international focus. That means that almost any business out there is open to you. As long as it has some level of global interaction. And so I think that instead of looking at it as one direction, now it's saying, okay, wait a minute, you know what? I have a lot of different options to go to because I have a degree that is allowing me to focus on the international aspect, but it's not limiting me to just retail or just, cruises or something. I don't know, I can't think fast enough to give you good examples, but that's what I just wanted to say about that, is just kind of keeps your options open. Don't look at it as something that's narrow or not giving you enough direction. I think it's a really good option still.
I think all the courses we have as international business student, it gives you the background to be able to work anywhere actually, because we learn so much about international things and we are in such an international environment that gives you quite a broad knowledge to be able to transfer to whatever you decided to do. You just need to decide what you want to do and go for it.
Yes, thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing. I am seeing, we have no more questions in the chat box at the moment. They're all satisfied, they're all clear. So I'm just going to, there's one more. Yes, I missed one.
Yeah, I think Beatrice is asking if Elizabeth is currently pursuing the CPHR designation.
Okay.
Yes, I am. So after I get my 3-year experience in TNT, I actually get connected to the CPHR, and then I submit all those documents that I needed to verify my grades from school. So right now I'm a candidate of CPHR. I don't really need to go through the NKE, the exam that if you don't, because I think the program in Acsenda get connected with CPHR. So if you finish all the classes that require with a certain grade, so you don't need to take the exam. So I got exempted from the exam. So right now I'm a little bit lazy, or busy in a way. I'm not finished. I haven't finished the requirement that they were asking me to fill out, the experience that I have, what I've been doing, what is my accountability, what is my responsibility at job. And after I submit that, they verify it, then hopefully I'll get my CPA child. I'll definitely work on it. I hope I can get it within this year.
So we hope you get it too. And it's good that you pointed out that it's important for students to be a part of, professional organizations, and try to get certifications. This will help you to be more marketable. So thank you for sharing. Did I miss any more questions, Melissa?
Don't think so. I do think that I'm wondering if anyone has some last minute advice they'd like to give to current students, maybe something that you just wish you had heard or known or something like that we can give in parting, because we are going to be posting this video, and so I have a feeling a lot of students are going to be watching this, so I think they could get a lot out of everything so far, but even more so any last words and of advice.
Yeah, I have an advice, I think.
Go for it. Go ahead.
So as what you've said, that you're try to open your options to everything, and I think while you're doing that, you also need to find your passion in life. If you like arts, arts is everywhere. Or because for me, I like talking to people. So in a way, maybe you can work in any customer service or any even healthcare customer service or any related passion. If you like, if you have people skills, if that's your passion, then look for it. So maybe if you're gonna find the right job for you, you're not gonna work any day in your life because you like doing those stuff. So I think passion is the key.
Yes, that is true. Noe, you wanted to add?
Well, I'm gonna go just to close this out. I want to say it again. Be prepared. Always be prepared. But most importantly, keep working. Don't stop. It doesn't matter how hard it looks. It doesn't matter how hard it gets. Just keep working. Just push through. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't matter how dark it gets. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. All you have to do is push through, and you'll get what you work for. Nothing is gonna get. Well, I'm gonna say nothing, but most things that are worth to work for. So just keep going, be prepared, and don't hesitate.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Melissa. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, I have some final thoughts to share. Yeah, as Noah was saying, get yourself prepared, don't hesitate, keep on working. And I think it's very, very important. And also one of the mindset that we should have is like we are all, I don't know, we all have our background, our career back in from our home country. And I see sometimes some people, it's so difficult for them to, get rid of the past and start fresh new. And sometimes it really become an obstacle when you're trying to look for a new job, when you keep on thinking, how good I was, what kind of position that I was back then. Then when I first start my job in TNT, it's just an assistant. And, some of my friends were saying that, oh, why are you giving up your regional position and come here as an assistant? But I think sometime in life, you have to know what your goal is. And then at that time, my goal is to settle in a job that I can get my PR, keep going, stay in this country. So, make sure that you know what your goal is and work for it. Yeah, that's my advice.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Melissa?
I guess one of the things that I miss and I started looking for it, I actually got it now, is like having a mentor, especially because for us coming from a different country, there is so much that we have to learn to be able to be in the workplace here. even to understand that we have to start from zero, we have to learn from the beginning, and we have to go to start growing in the company. So maybe find someone that you can ask for advice. You could be a teacher, someone that can mentor you, help with your resume. I mean, for me, it was very hard writing a resume and a cover letter because the way they do here, everything's different from the way I'm used to. So, and those things, talk to people. Maybe the alumni students can also help with that. I think it was really helpful. I wish I could have this kind of advice that everyone is giving today when I was a student, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and I was totally lost. So it's hard, but when there is a will, there is a way, and there are people out there willing to help, because we've all been there. So I'm sure we all be more than happy to help you guys. So I guess that would be my advice, because we don't know everything, and it's not a problem to ask for help or ask questions. Just don't be afraid.
Thank you so much to our panel. You know, it is highly recommended that every students we make preparations, you know, develop that passion, as Chastity said, be prepared, as Noah said, you know, as we try to enter the working world, get involved in extracurricular activities, HR club, like Elizabeth did, you know, try to be a part of professional organizations, get your certification like Melissa did, that's Pajera. For in terms of the FITT, you know, get your certification, try to work in different functional areas, get experience, whether voluntarily or professionally, so that you can work your way to managerial or executive posts. You know, set goals, develop a strategic execution plan so you know exactly where you're going. Times may be, you know, unpredictable, as our panel highlighted, and things are changing, but through building your network and building your credential, you can use a proactive approach to become successful. That is the takeaway from our panelists. Very, very powerful words. Thank you very much. I'll turn over to Melissa for the vote of thanks. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. You did such an amazing job moderating the session and summarizing. You know, I can't believe you remembered all the stuff that they said. So thank you so much. That was such a wonderful job. And thank you, panel. I appreciate it. I know that I beg you guys to do stuff for us, and I probably get really annoying, but I can't tell you the impact that this has on students. Like, I know a lot of students maybe we didn't get a lot of live students, but I have no doubt that students are going to be watching this video and they're going to get a lot out of it. They are often telling me that they feel connected to alumni because you guys were in their position, and so they believe that they can get to where you got. Whereas sometimes with guest speakers, they feel like, oh, I can never be that person. So you guys really are like the face of Acsenda, and I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy days, I'm sure, to join us and to do this video and to be around some of our students. So thank you so much. And thank you, Tracy. Chanel had to leave, but we're going to thank Chanel as well. I guess that would be it. I think Beatrice asked if we could all turn on our camera so that there can be like a screenshot. She oversees our newsletter, and she's done such a fabulous job with it. So she wants to kind of put a picture in, and I'm assuming a little bit of a blurb about what happened here. So if Noah, you're hilarious. So if everybody wants to, let me see what I can do, if I can get oh, there we go. Okay. So if everyone who's comfortable turns on their video, and then we can maybe take a screenshot. A BA. Beatrice, is that what you needed? Is there anything else you need?
Everything's good, thank you.
Do you need me to do something, or are you gonna do the screenshot?
I already did.
Oh, yay. Okay. Thank you. She's so efficient. All right, well, that's it. Thank you guys so much. And I hope, just so you guys know, I really hope to do an alumni series every term. I just think it's so valuable to have you guys here. So please let me know If you're interested in doing anything in the future, or even if you want to do your own speaking event, that would be amazing as well. So just let us know.
Absolutely, more than happy to help every time.
Well, Noe, you're on the hook for some salsa dancing.
Salsa
Oh
club.
yeah,
happening.
absolutely.
That's absolutely happening. Neil, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to let the alumni know that we have now got some lapel pins made up, and you can see I'm wearing the Acsenda lapel pin here, and we're gonna arrange to send them out to everyone. So we hope we have everybody's correct mailing address, and we'll be getting those out shortly. I was hoping to have it as a kind of a formal pinning ceremony, but that could be a ways off still. So we'll be sending them out. So thanks to everyone, and we're glad to have you and proud to have you as part of the Acsenda family.
Sure. Thank you, guys. You have a great
Bye-bye.
evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Night.
Good night.